season in the NFL. Plus, why Stephen A. says Le'Veon Bell threw a gutter ball by hitting up a bowling alley this weekend. And you do not want to miss Stephen's A-list of the most annoying people in sports. First Take right now.
Eli Manning is back. How's that feel, Eli Manning? Downfield, wide open, he's got him again! Manning to Slayton! And we are tied up on Monday Night Football. Wentz to the end zone, wide open, Zach Ertz. Eat that W, Philly.
Ryan Clark's here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to First Take, coming to you live from the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17. Ryan, I really want to ask you about that Patriots subject.
I'm sitting next to two emotional people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they caught up in their feelings and all of this. All I'm saying is
we're not emotional. We're virtuous.
Oh, listen, I hear that. All I'm saying is this: that the man been doing it for 19 years. Figure it out. You understand? So figure it out and beat them.
Well, I think you two. I think you and Ryan, Stephen A. You and Ryan should either want the Steelers to cheat as much as the Patriots, or else get better at it.
Here's the thing. I want both of those things. I want the Steelers, or I want any team. I am a fan of the people there to cheat as much as the Patriots do, and I want them to be as good at it as the Patriots are. And listen,
thank you very much, Ryan.
The question, I was watching the show, obviously. The question was, is it fair to call them cheaters? Absolutely. I believe that they have cheated throughout Bill Belichick's tenure. I don't necessarily believe that this time is cheating or that this time they were trying to cheat. I think it was them being unaware and disrespectful, because y'all all know if people think that you're a certain thing and you're going into a situation like that, you're going to make sure they can't say these things about you again. But that wasn't what the Patriots thought. They thought, I've been getting away with it forever. Nobody cares. We still got 6 championships out of it. I don't have to cross every T and dot every I, and I'll be okay. It was more disrespectful and unaware to me than anything.
If you're going to cheat, kids, don't do it disrespectfully.
No, I'm not saying that. I just don't think it's cheating this time. I think the other times it was, and the cover-ups kind of show that.
Yeah, that's probably why the Bengals guy wanted the video deleted.
Let's move on to Eli, please. Let's go. That's what he's on there for. Let's go.
All right. Eli appeared to turn back the clock last night by leading the Giants to a 14-point lead before the Eagles rallied to a 23-17 win, making his first start since Week 2. The 2-time Super Bowl MVP tied brother Peyton with 38 TD passes on Monday Night Football, which is 6th most all time. We all know that it's Danny Dimes' team, so his days are numbered. So I will ask you this, Stephen A. Is Eli a Hall of Famer?
Not to me. Not to me. I understand that, listen, I know he's going to get in. You got 2 Super Bowl titles, he's going to get in. But when you ask me, is somebody a Hall of Famer, I'm looking at Hall of Fame talent. I'm not looking at Hall of Fame moments. I'm looking at Hall of Fame talent. And when I think about his brother and how great his brother has been, when I think of the great quarterbacks we look at today, the Tom Brady's, the Aaron Rodgers, the Drew Brees of the world, when I look at the Hall of Fame talents from the past, whether it's a Dan Marino and others, I don't view Eli Manning that way. I look at Eli Manning, I'm thinking about the multitude of times, 6 times in 7 years, 8 times in 11 years, you're missing the playoffs. You've never completed 60%. I said you haven't completed 60% of your passes in your career. 3 times you led the league in interceptions. All of these different things. I know he's had great Hall of Fame moments. And if he were to get in the Hall of Fame, or shall I say when he gets into the Hall of Fame, there is no doubt that there are moments to show that you can sit up there and appreciate what he's done, because he's class personified, constant professional, Iron Man, very reliable, trustworthy, never missed games, just everything. There's a lot of great things you can say about him. But when I look at his talent as a quarterback, although there were great moments, I don't view him as a Hall of Fame talent. I never have.
Yeah, it's hard to say a guy's a Hall of Fame talent when he's basically league average for most of his career. And yet there's value in league average, particularly at that position. That's hard to be league average at the quarterback position in the NFL, particularly for that amount of time. Recall that when he was no longer, like when his Iron Man streak was broken, it wasn't because of injury, right? He didn't get hurt. It's because he
2017
wasn't good enough anymore,
Right.
which underscores the fact that the whole rest of the time he had to be good enough to be considered a starter, right? That's why the Iron Man thing has real value, not to mention the consistency, the toughness, all that stuff. And usually he was above league average. And that alone would not get you into the Hall of Fame. However, I will bring this up every time. Nate Silver, 538.com. Who's the most clutch playoff quarterback of all time? They ran the whole formula, and it was Eli Manning by so much. They said something has to be wrong with the methodology. Let's redo the methodology to get the Trent Dilfers, frankly, off the list. When they redid the methodology, this time it wasn't Eli by so much. Joe Montana came in a close second, but Eli still came in first over Joe Montana, most clutch quarterback in the history of the playoffs. So that I think if you're an Ironman for 16 years, you're the second longest Ironman streak in the history of football. And on top of that, you were the most clutch quarterback in the history of the playoffs, and you were a 2-time Super Bowl MVP. That puts you over the top. I have to say yes to Eli Manning. It galled me that yesterday they lost. I was so hoping he would win. Even though I root against the Cowboys even more than the Eagles, I don't want them in the playoffs.
Bless you.
Even though I want the Giants to have a better draft pick, I thought, don't end your career under 500. Because Eli is a borderline case. He needs all the help he can get. And I hope if Daniel Jones remains hurt or something, Eli can get a few wins so he does not end his career under 500.
Ryan, I want you to give us a yes or no answer on the Hall of Fame question. And then I want to ask you this, because he did look good in the first half. Do you think he should retire at the end of the season?
Because I respect you so much, I'll say no, and I do think he should retire. The reason I think that Eli Manning should retire is because what we saw last night is what he is. He was able to come out and be a professional at the beginning of the game. And you heard Eli Manning say that he thought being a backup was kind of boring, and that's not something that he wants to do. I also don't believe that Eli Manning wants to compete or can compete to win the starting quarterback position for another team. You go back to the first half, and what I saw was that Eli Manning learned watching Daniel Jones. He understood how good Darius Slayton is and had been for Daniel Jones, and that was a guy he went to, and he was able to beat Ronald Darby, and there was some bad defense, and he showed that if my guy is wide open, I can get him the ball. But move to the second half, 4 of 11. They only get 20 plays, only 30 yards as a team. That was because Eli was starting to get pressure. Guys weren't getting open. Eli couldn't do the things to make a team better. And that's who Eli has been for the back quarter of his career. You know, we talk about the longevity of Eli and the health and the durability, and all of those things are, to me, the reason he shouldn't get into the NFL. Into the Hall of Fame. We can't discount what Eli Manning became after winning the second Super Bowl. And so if we look at that and we look at last night and we listen to what he says about being a backup, Eli Manning wants to walk into a position or a situation the same way that Peyton Manning did. One, he's not Peyton. He has never been Peyton. Two, he's not as good as Peyton was after recovering from injury and being cut by the Indianapolis Colts. It was fun to watch. It was good to see Eli Manning there out on the field, helping his team and trying to win a football game. It was excellent when we kept cutting to the suite to see the royal family of the NFL so we could look at Peyton and see Archie and also see Eli Manning's wife and family, get to enjoy them and watching him play for one of the last few times. But this should be it. He's not a quarterback who can play in this league because he doesn't still have elite level arm talent. He doesn't still have elite level courage. And we know that the game is now moving to quarterbacks who are mobile, who can improv and who can make something out of nothing. And that's not who Eli Manning is.
Ryan, so easily, you basically answered it, but just for clarification, you believe that Eli Manning should retire at the end of the season.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Absolutely. I believe that we should be preparing right now for the press conference. We should all have our nice words put together so we can say glowing things about Eli Manning, and so Max can make the case in the debate that will put him in the Hall of Fame, which I think he does get into eventually. But Eli Manning
you think
is
he
no
gets
longer,
in?
I do.
You think he gets in, but do you think he deserves
no,
to be a Hall of Famer?
Absolutely not. He's not a Hall of Fame quarterback.
There's a Simpsons episode where they wind up in Reno, I think, and that's where actually like old celebrities, if I'm recalling correctly, go to die. That's like they're like when people forget about them, they're in Reno.
Do you know you can watch The Simpsons on Disney Plus?
Oh, I do know that, as a matter of fact.
You should download it today.
By the way, I love shilling for Disney Plus. It's a great service. I have it. Anyway, the point is that we take a break from our regularly scheduled programming.
We digress.
The point is that Eli Manning has been in Reno for a couple of years now, and people forgot to tell him. Like, you know, it's like when he retires, dude, he retired a couple of years ago, but no one told him.
Yeah.
He's been cooked for a couple of years. It was great to see his first half. I loved it. Sometimes an athlete can recapture some kind of brilliance for a moment in time that reminds you of when they were young. And Eli, unless it was under pressure, never hit those heights. But fourth quarter comebacks, 2-minute drills, playoffs, Super Bowls, he was as good as it got. And I love to see that yesterday in the first half. It is over.
I want to say this in defense of Eli Manning.
Yeah.
There are people that they just have a hard time letting go. We've seen that from numerous athletes throughout the years, Ryan. We've seen this all the time. Even though I don't believe Eli Manning is a Hall of Famer, his professionalism, his respect should always be recognized because he's class
100%.
personified. But I will tell you this. What I feel sorry about when it comes to him, Max just alluded to him being retired. He should have been retired years ago. Did it ever occur to anybody that the reason why he's delayed that is because years earlier, when he didn't deserve to be retired, the Giants didn't give him much to work with?
I agree with that.
And because he had to stomach so much, he didn't want to go out that way because he knew he was better.
No,
when
I don't
they
think
were
that.
worse.
Wait, I
and
think
then he
real
got
quick,
worse,
Ryan,
but didn't want to accept it.
Real quick, I understand that point. You're right. The Giants killed him for Jerry Reese just killed Eli at the end for a couple of years there when Eli still had something left. I agree with that. I don't think that's why Eli still plays. I think the guy just loves to play football.
I absolutely,
really think that's all
I do.
it
I
is.
think he enjoys the game. He loves to play the game. And we got to remember, we're talking about that first half. The week before this, Ryan Fitzpatrick goes crazy on this same Philadelphia Eagles secondary with Devontae Parker. And so it wasn't like he was playing this great defense that puts pressure on him.
Well, we knew with Darby and Mills he wasn't.
Yeah,
some
and
bad plays,
so
missed
Eli had his
coverage, everything.
moments, but it's time for him to hang it up.
Yeah.
All right, we'll leave it on that note. Baker and Odell seem to be doing more.